The most sophisticated manipulation tactics that exist today, love bombing, gaslighting, fear-based control, false accusations, they were all documented in one book, thousands of years before psychology existed, the Bible. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Most people read the Bible as a spiritual text, and it is. But underneath the faith, the miracles, and the prophecy, there is a second layer, a psychological layer, one that maps human behavior so accurately it reads like a modern therapy textbook. Today, we are going to look at 5 stories from the Bible stories you probably already know. But this time, we are going to look at them through the lens of dark psychology, manipulation, control, deception, coercion, and by the end of this video, you will not just understand the Bible better, you will understand people better, including the people in your own life. Let us begin. Story 1. Satan and Jesus in the wilderness. Imagine you have not eaten in 40 days. Your body is failing, your mind is exhausted, and someone walks up to you and says, "If you are really who you say you are, prove it." That is where we find Jesus in Matthew chapter 4. He has been fasting in the desert for 40 days. He is at his most physically and mentally vulnerable. And that is exactly when Satan chooses to strike. This is the first lesson in dark psychology. Manipulators do not attack when you are strong. They wait until you are weak. They watch for the moments when you are tired, hungry, grieving, lonely, or uncertain, and they move in. Now look at how Satan opens the conversation. He does not threaten Jesus. He does not scream at him. He simply says, "If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread." That word "if," that is not a question. That is a seed. In psychology, this is called cognitive reframing, subtly introducing doubt into someone's self-perception. It is the same tactic a narcissist uses when they say, "If you really loved me, you would have done this." They are not asking you a question. They are planting a question inside you. But Jesus does not take the bait. He does not defend himself. He does not say, "I am the Son of God, let me prove it." Because the moment you start defending yourself to a manipulator, they have already won. You are now on their terms. Jesus redirects. He uses scripture. He stays grounded. Second attempt by Satan. He takes Jesus to the top of the temple and says, "Throw yourself down. God will send angels to catch you. It is written." Notice what is happening here. Satan is now quoting scripture to the author of scripture. This is one of the most advanced manipulation tactics in existence. It is called truth distortion, taking something that is real, something the target believes in, and twisting it to serve a false agenda. You see this in toxic relationships all the time. You said you forgive people, so why won't you forgive me for what I did? They use your values against you. Jesus responds with another scripture. Third attempt. Satan takes Jesus to a high mountain, shows him all the kingdoms of the world, and says, "I will give you all of this if you bow down and worship me." Now, this is a tactic psychologists call false promise combined with an authority offer. The offer sounds massive, the cost sounds small. But the cost is everything. The offer is empty. This is the sales pitch of every manipulator who ever lived. Just do this one small thing for me. Just cross this one line. Look at everything you'll get in return. The Bible documented this manipulation blueprint thousands of years ago, and it still works on people today. Story 2, Delilah and Samson. Samson was the strongest man alive. He tore lions apart with his bare hands. He defeated entire armies alone. No weapon could stop him. But Delilah stopped him. Not with strength, not with a weapon, with a question asked over and over again. "Tell me the secret of your great strength. Tell me how you could be tied up and subdued." 3 times he lied to her. 3 times she betrayed him to the Philistines. 3 times he woke up and thought she was just curious. And this is the psychology that will leave you speechless. Samson was not stupid. He was not oblivious. He knew what Delilah was doing, and he stayed anyway. Psychologists call this the loyalty trap. It is the moment when a person's emotional attachment to someone overrides every warning signal their brain is sending. You have seen this. Maybe you have lived this. You knew something was wrong. Your gut was screaming at you. The evidence was right in front of you. But you stayed because leaving felt like losing yourself. Now, look at how Delilah operates. She does not intimidate. She does not threaten. She uses what psychologists today call emotional erosion, wearing someone down over time through repetition, guilt, and manufactured emotional pain. Judges 16 verse 16 says, "She pressed him day after day with her words and urged him until he was tired to death." Tired to death. That phrase right there is one of the most psychologically accurate descriptions of emotional abuse ever written. She did not break him in one moment. She broke him slowly. And when he finally said, "My hair has never been cut, it is the source of my strength," it was not because she tricked him. It was because he was exhausted. This is what prolonged emotional manipulation does to a person. It does not just get information out of them. It destroys their will to protect themselves. The Bible documented this cycle of emotional erosion over 3,000 years ago. Therapists are still writing books about it today. Story 3, Jezebel and Naboth. There is a vineyard. It belongs to a man named Naboth. It has been in his family for generations. It sits right next to the royal palace. And King Ahab wants it. He offers Naboth money. He offers him a better vineyard. Naboth says no, it is his inheritance. It is not for sale. Ahab goes home and does something most powerful people do when they cannot get what they want. He sulks. He lies on his bed, turns his face to the wall, and refuses to eat. Enter Jezebel, his wife, the real power behind the throne. She looks at her husband and says 4 words that contain the entire psychology of a dark manipulator. "Get up and eat. I will get the vineyard of Naboth for you." She does not ask questions. She does not hesitate. She moves. She writes letters in Ahab's name using his authority, not her own. She has Naboth falsely accused of cursing God and the king. She arranges for 2 false witnesses to testify against him. She has him stoned to death. Then she walks back to Ahab and says, "The vineyard is yours." And Ahab goes to claim it. What Jezebel demonstrates here is what psychologists call the dark triad in action, a combination of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Narcissism, Ahab's desire is supreme, nothing else matters. Machiavellianism, the ends justify the means, whatever it takes to win. Psychopathy, no guilt, no hesitation. An innocent man dies, and she walks back to report the news like she is delivering a grocery order. But here is what makes this story most relevant to today. Jezebel did not destroy Naboth with her own hands. She used systems, she used laws, she used witnesses, she used authority structures. This is the most dangerous form of manipulation. When the abuse leaves no fingerprints, when someone destroys you using your own institutions against you, and the victim cannot even point to the person responsible because everyone involved was just following the rules. The Bible wrote this playbook. And if you have ever been falsely accused, professionally sabotaged, or socially destroyed by someone who kept their own hands clean, you have lived this story. Story 4, Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau are twins. Esau is born first. In that culture, that means everything: the birthright, the inheritance, the blessing from their father. Jacob is born second. And he spends his early life knowing he will always be second. Until one afternoon. Esau comes home from hunting. He is starving. He has been out all day. His body is crashing. He smells the stew Jacob is cooking. And he says, "Give me some of that red stew. I am dying of hunger." Jacob looks at his brother, his own flesh and blood, and says calmly, "First, sell me your birthright." Esau, in a moment of physical desperation, says, "What good is a birthright if I am dying?" He trades his inheritance for a bowl of soup. Psychologists call this temporal discounting, the human tendency to give disproportionate value to something immediate and concrete over something distant and abstract. A bowl of soup is real right now. A birthright is a future idea. And in that one desperate moment, Esau could not see past the bowl. But Jacob saw perfectly. He had been watching, he had been waiting, and when his brother's defenses were lowest, he made his move. This is important because Jacob is not presented as a villain here. He is presented as someone who understood human psychology and used it. He understood that everyone has a price, everyone has a threshold, everyone has a moment when they will trade something they should never trade. And the manipulator waits for that moment, patiently, quietly, with a bowl of soup ready. The people who have taken advantage of you in life, they did not beat you. They waited for your hungry moment. That is the psychology of Jacob and Esau. Story 5, Joseph's brothers. This last story is the one that will stay with you, because every person watching this video has either been Joseph or one of the brothers. Joseph is his father's favorite. He has a coat of many colors, he has dreams about his future greatness, and his brothers hate him for it. Not because he did anything to them, but because his existence makes them feel like less. This is the psychology of envy, one of the most destructive and least understood emotions in human experience. Envy is not just wanting what someone else has. Envy is wanting them to not have it. And that distinction changes everything. His brothers do not just want to be loved more by their father. They want to eliminate Joseph. But notice how the manipulation unfolds. First, they strip him of the coat, his symbol of identity and worth. Then they throw him in a pit. Then they sit down to eat a meal while he cries from the pit. And then they sell him to strangers, into slavery, into Egypt, for 20 pieces of silver. And then they go home, dip his coat in goat's blood, and tell their father he was killed by a wild animal. They look into their father's eyes, a man broken with grief, and they lie. For years, every day of their lives, they knew. Psychologists call this collaborative moral disengagement, the process by which a group of people suppresses individual conscience to commit and then sustain a collective act of harm. It is the psychology behind every workplace bullying incident, every social exclusion campaign, and every family that covers up its darkest secrets. One person might not have done it alone, but in a group, the conscience of each individual is diffused. No one feels fully responsible, so no one stops. And notice the one brother who almost speaks up, Reuben. He says, do not take his life, he wants to rescue Joseph later. But he does not stop what is happening right now. He is the bystander, the one who disagrees but does not act. The one who tells himself, I'll fix it later. But later never comes. The Bible calls this story a story of forgiveness and redemption. And it is. But first, it is a masterclass in how envy destroys, how groups commit wrongs that individuals would not, and how silence makes you complicit. 5 stories, thousands of years old, and every single psychological pattern documented in them, the manipulation, the erosion, the false accusations, the opportunistic deception, the envy, the silence, they are happening right now. In your office, in your family, in your relationships, maybe even in you. That is not an accusation. That is the point of the Bible. It was never written to show you perfect people. It was written to show you real people. People who manipulated and were manipulated. People who betrayed and were betrayed. People who waited in pits and people who stood watching. And somewhere inside every one of those stories is a mirror. The question is, which one are you looking at? If this video made you see the Bible differently, I want to know. Comment below, which story hit you hardest? Was it Delilah's patience, Satan's reframing, Jezebel's cold calculation, or Joseph's brothers eating while he cried? Tell me in the comments. And if you want me to decode more of these psychological stories from the Bible, stories that will genuinely change how you see yourself and the people around you, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.